Liana was born with a face so beautiful that it was deadly. From the moment she entered the world, something strange happened. Everyone in the hospital who saw her died instantly. The doctors, nurses, even visitors who came too close, all of them fell lifeless to the ground. The only people who survived were her parents, who loved her deeply but feared the cost she carried. As Liana grew, her parents realized they had to protect her from the world, and the world from her. Her mother decided to homeschool her, keeping her away from everyone. Liana was smart, incredibly smart. She learned everything quickly, reading books and solving math problems like a genius. But even though she was so intelligent, she was lonely. She didn't have friends and never played outside like other children. She could never let anyone see her face. When Liana turned 18, her parents decided it was time for her to attend university. They couldn't keep her hidden forever. But to protect others, she wrapped her face tightly with cloth, covering her beauty. Only her eyes peeked out from behind the layers of fabric. She was always careful never to let anyone see her true face. At the university, Liana became known for her brilliance. She aced every exam, finished every assignment before anyone else, and her professors praised her. But she didn't care about the praise, she just wanted to get through the day without hurting anyone. Despite her intelligence, some students didn't understand why she covered her face every day. Rumors spread quickly. Some said she was hiding scars. Others thought she was just weird. One of the loudest voices came from Naomi, the school bully. Naomi was always showing off, thinking she was better than everyone else. She liked to pick on people, and Liana became her favorite target. One day, Naomi marched up to Liana in front of a group of students. "Heck Liana, why do you always cover your face? Are you hiding something ugly under there?" Naomi sneered, folding her arms. The other students giggled, waiting to see what Liana would do. Liana stood calmly, her eyes fixed on Naomi. She didn't say anything for a moment, then finally replied, "I bet you don't want to see my real face." Naomi laughed. "Oh, come on. If you're not ugly, prove it. Show everyone what you look like." Liana shook her head, her voice steady. "Trust me, you don't want to see." But Naomi wouldn't stop. Every day, she taunted Liana. "If you're not scared, take that cloth off your face," she would say, and the students would laugh behind her. Liana ignored them. She knew the danger. She didn't want anyone to die because of her. But no matter how hard she tried to stay focused on her studies, Naomi and her friends wouldn't leave her alone. One afternoon, while Liana was walking to class, Naomi blocked her path. "Today's the day," Naomi said, her eyes full of mischief. "You're going to show everyone. If you're not ugly, prove it." The crowd around them grew, curious about what would happen next. Liana looked at Naomi for a long moment, then said softly, "If I show you, it won't end well for you." Naomi smirked, rolling her eyes. "Sure, whatever you say. You're just too scared to show your face." Liana took a deep breath. She didn't want to hurt anyone, but she was tired of the constant teasing. She stepped closer to Naomi and said, "You think I'm hiding because I'm ugly? You're wrong. I'm hiding to protect you." The crowd fell silent. Naomi's smile faltered, but she didn't back down. "I don't need your protection. Take off the cloth or admit that you're a coward." Liana's heart raced. She wanted to tell Naomi the truth, to explain that her face wasn't just beautiful, it was deadly. But she knew Naomi wouldn't believe her. So she turned away, refusing to give in to the bully's demands. As the days passed, Naomi kept mocking her. "You're just scared of being judged," she would shout. But Liana remained silent, focused on her studies. She didn't want to give Naomi the satisfaction of a reaction. Still, the other students started whispering more. "Why won't she show her face? Do you think there's something wrong with her? Maybe she's cursed." Meanwhile, Darren, one of the most handsome guys at the university, had taken notice of Liana. Almost every girl liked him. He was confident, charming, and very popular. But unlike the others, Darren wasn't just curious. He wanted to know the truth. And one day, he made a decision. He was going to find out what Liana was hiding. Naomi, who always had a mean plan up her sleeve, decided to use Darren to carry out her latest scheme. One day during lunch, she walked up to him, flipping her hair and smiling sweetly. Darren, she said, sliding into the seat next to him. I need you to do something for me. Darren raised an eyebrow. What now, Naomi? Another one of your tricks. Naomi grinned. Well, this one's really good. It's about that strange girl, Liana, you know, the one who always covers her face. Darren shrugged. Yeah, I've seen her. What about her? Naomi leaned closer, her voice full of excitement. I want you to get close to her. Pretend to be her friend. Make her trust you. Then, when she falls asleep, give her something to make her sleep deeper. Take off her face covering and snap a picture of her real face. Send the photo to me, and I'll take care of the rest. Darren frowned. Why do you even care about her? She's not bothering anyone. Naomi rolled her eyes. She thinks she's better than everyone else, hiding her face like she's some big mystery. I bet she's really ugly under that cover. I want to show everyone what she's hiding. Darren hesitated. He wasn't a fan of Naomi's mean games, and this plan felt wrong. But Naomi wasn't someone you could easily say no to. She had a way of pressuring people to do what she wanted. Even though he wasn't sure about it, Darren agreed. He figured it would be easy to befriend Liana. After all, she was quiet and didn't have many friends. He started by sitting near her during lectures, pretending to be interested in what the professor was saying. At first, Liana didn't pay much attention to him. She was used to people either ignoring her or mocking her from a distance. But Darren was different. He didn't tease her or laugh like the others. He always smiled at her, which made her suspicious. One day, Darren sat beside her in the library. Hey, he said, his voice friendly. You're Liana, right? Liana looked up, her eyes peeking out from behind the cloth covering her face. Yes, she said slowly. Hope no problem. Darren leaned back in his chair, pretending to be casual. I've seen you around, Darren said. You seem interesting. I thought we could be friends. Liana frowned. Nobody ever wanted to be her friend. Most people avoided her, and those who didn't usually had something mean to say. Why would you want to be friends with someone like me? She asked. Darren laughed lightly. Why not? You're smart and you don't follow the crowd. That's cool. Liana didn't respond. She didn't trust him. But he didn't seem like the others. He wasn't laughing at her or trying to make her feel bad. Still, she didn't let her guard down. Over the next few days, Darren kept trying. He would sit next to her during class, walk with her after lectures, and even bring her small snacks like a candy bar or a bottle of juice. Slowly, Liana began to warm up to him. She started talking to him about her favorite books and how much she loved science. For the first time, she felt like someone was truly listening to her. One evening, Darren suggested they study together in her room. You're so smart, Liana, he said with a grin. I could use your help with some of these assignments. Liana hesitated but eventually agreed. Maybe, just maybe, she had finally found a real friend. She even made tea for him when he arrived. Darren smiled as he took the cup, but inside his pocket was a small packet of powder Naomi had given him, a sleeping drug. As Liana turned her back to grab a book, Darren quickly poured the powder into her tea. Here, he said, handing her the cup. You deserve a break. Liana smiled behind her cloth and took a sip. They talked for a while, but soon, her eyelids began to feel heavy. I think I'm getting sleepy, she said, yawning. Darren nodded, pretending to be concerned. You've been working so hard. Get some rest, I'll pack up and leave. Liana lay down on her bed, still holding on to the hope that she had finally found a true friend. Within minutes, she was fast asleep. Darren waited until he was sure she wouldn't wake up. His hands shook slightly as he walked to her bed. He felt guilty. Liana had been nothing but kind to him. But Naomi's voice echoed in his mind, take off her face cover and get a photo. Slowly, he reached out and began untying the cloth. With each knot he loosened, his heart pounded harder. Finally, the cloth fell away, and he froze. Liana's face was revealed, and it was unlike anything he had ever seen. She wasn't ugly, far from it. Her beauty was unexplainable, almost otherworldly. It wasn't just her looks, there was something about her face that drew him in, something too powerful for words. But before he could even think, a wave of darkness hit him. His chest tightened, his vision blurred, and his legs gave out. He gasped for air, but it was no use. The overwhelming force of her beauty was too much for him to handle. In seconds, Darren collapsed to the floor, lifeless. A few minutes later, Liana woke up, feeling groggy. She sat up and noticed her face covering lying on the floor. Liana's heart sank. She looked around and saw Darren lying on the ground, his eyes wide open and unblinking. "Darren," she whispered, crawling toward him. She shook his shoulder, but he didn't move. Panic filled her chest as she realized what had happened. He had seen her face and now he was dead. Tears streamed down her face as she tied the cloth back over her head. "Why did you do this, Darren? Why didn't you listen?" she cried. The noise attracted attention from other students in the dorm. When someone opened her door and saw Darren's body, they screamed. Soon, security was called, and the police arrived shortly after. The officers found Liana sitting beside Darren's body, her face covered once again. "What happened here?" one of them asked, his voice stern. Liana's voice trembled as she replied, "He saw my face, that's all it takes. I didn't mean to hurt him. I warned everyone, but no one believed me." The police didn't know what to think. Some of them had heard stories about her condition but had dismissed them as rumors. After interviewing her parents and piecing together the events, they decided she wasn't a criminal. "This isn't murder," one of the officers said quietly to his colleague. "She's not doing this on purpose, it's something else." Liana was released later that night. As her parents held her tightly, she whispered, "I don't want to hurt anyone else. Maybe I should just stay away from everyone forever." "Liana," her mother said, sitting next to her, "you can't run and hide from everyone forever. I know you're scared, but you have to keep going. You've worked so hard to get here, and you can't give up now." Liana looked down, feeling like everything was falling apart. "But, Mom, it's so hard. People stare at me, and they don't understand. What if they see my face and something bad happens again?" Her mother took her hand gently. "I understand your fear, sweetheart, but you can't let that stop you. You need to finish school, for yourself. Don't let fear control your life. People may say things, they may stare, but that doesn't define who you are. You're strong, and you have so much to offer the world." Liana wiped away a tear. "What about Naomi? She always tries to make me feel small. She's been bullying me for so long. How do I deal with her?" Her mother smiled, brushing Liana's hair back. "You have to mind your own business, Liana. People like Naomi will always try to bring others down, but you don't have to let her. Don't listen to what bullies say, focus on your own path and keep your eyes on your goals. You are in control of your own story." Liana nodded slowly, thinking about her mother's words. It wasn't going to be easy, but she had to try. "I will try, Mom. I don't want to hide anymore." Her mother hugged her tightly. "That's my girl. You can do anything you set your mind to. I'm here for you every step of the way." The next day, Liana went to school feeling a little nervous but determined to face her fears. She had made up her mind to ignore the bullies and focus on her studies. As she walked through the hallways, she kept her head down and moved quickly to her first class. But when she entered the library, she saw Naomi sitting with a group of girls. Naomi immediately spotted her and stood up, walking toward her. Well, here comes the ugly killer," Naomi sneered. "Did your rich parents bribe the police to get you out? I'm sure that's the only reason they let you go free. You're just a monster hiding behind that cloth." Liana's heart pounded in her chest. She had expected this, but it still hurt. She tried to ignore Naomi and keep walking, but Naomi wasn't done. "You think you're special just because your parents have money, don't you?" Naomi continued. "You're lucky they're rich, otherwise you'd be in jail right now for killing someone. You're a freak." Liana felt her anger building, but instead of running away, she stopped and turned to face Naomi. "At least I'm not like you," Liana said, her voice steady. "You've been with almost every guy in this school just to get attention. What does that make you, huh? You're the one who's a joke." Naomi's face turned red. "It's none of your business who I date. You think I care about your opinion? I love fine men. Wherever I see one, I'll make sure I have him." Liana clenched her fist but took a deep breath. She had promised herself she wouldn't let people like Naomi define her. Liana stood tall, not backing down. I'm not ashamed of who I am. You should be ashamed, though. Instead of focusing on your studies, you've been in this school forever and still haven't graduated. Maybe if you spent more time in class and less time trying to impress boys, you might actually finish school. Naomi was quiet for a moment, then scoffed. You're just jealous because I'm popular and you're a nobody. Liana shook her head. I'm not jealous of you, Naomi. I'm focused on my future, something you should try doing for once. Naomi didn't have anything else to say, so she turned and walked back to her group of friends. Liana stood there for a moment, her heart racing. She had stood up for herself. She had spoken her truth, and it felt good. A week later, a very handsome boy named Elias arrived at the school. As soon as he walked through the gates, every girl couldn't stop talking about how good-looking he was. His tall figure, confident smile, and friendly eyes made him stand out from the rest. Liana heard whispers about him as she walked down the hall. All the girls were in awe, and some were already daydreaming about him. When Naomi first saw him, her eyes lit up. She immediately knew she wanted him. Turning to her friends, she said, I must have him. He's perfect. Some of her friends nodded in agreement, but a few others rolled their eyes. They were tired of Naomi's constant need for attention and her habit of chasing after any boy she thought was handsome. The next day, with a determined look on her face, Naomi walked up to Elias in the hallway. Her friends followed behind her, whispering excitedly. Hey Elias, Naomi said sweetly. I've noticed you're new here. How about we become friends? I can show you around and help you get settled. Elias didn't even look up at her. He kept walking, ignoring her completely. Naomi's smile faded and her friends started to giggle. They couldn't believe it, Naomi had been rejected. Naomi stopped in her tracks, her face turning a little red with embarrassment. He's just playing hard to get, she muttered. Don't worry, I'll get him. This is how men behave at first. They act like they don't care, but deep down, they are interested. Her friends weren't so sure. They had seen this happen before. Naomi always thought she could get any guy she wanted, but sometimes, things didn't go the way she planned. I'm not giving up, Naomi continued, her voice more confident now. I know what I'm doing. And if he doesn't come to me, I'll make him. I'll use my money to get him. From the way he looks, I don't think he comes from a rich family. She smirked. I bet if I offer him the things he wants, he'll change his mind about me. Her friends exchanged doubtful looks but said nothing. They knew Naomi's ways and deep down, they wondered if she would succeed this time. Meanwhile, Elias had started to like Liana. He found her friendly and smart. She was kind to everyone, and her intelligence amazed him. He loved talking to her during breaks and soon, they became close friends. Liana was always happy to help him with schoolwork, and Elias appreciated how well she explained things. The more he got to know her, the more he admired her. But not everyone was happy about their growing friendship. Elias's friends noticed that he was spending more time with Liana and less time with them. They didn't understand why he was so interested in her, especially since she was a bit of an outsider at school. They warned him to stay away from her, saying she wasn't the right type of person to be friends with. But Elias didn't listen to them. He liked Liana, and that was all that mattered to him. Naomi soon found out that Elias and Liana were spending a lot of time together. When she heard this, she was furious. She couldn't believe that Elias, the handsome boy she had tried to win over, was now friends with the one person she hated most. Naomi's jealousy took over, and she stormed up to Liana. You think you're so clever, don't you? Naomi snapped, standing in front of Liana. You're a witch, using your tricks to steal my man away from me. Liana laughed loudly, shaking her head. Who's your man? She asked. Somebody who doesn't even know you exist. Keep dreaming, loser. She crossed her arms and looked at Naomi with anger in her eyes. For your information, Elias and I are just friends. We are not dating, and we never will be. Naomi's face turned bright red with anger. Don't act like you're better than me, she hissed. You don't belong in this school. You're nothing but a freak who hides behind that cloth. Liana wasn't afraid. She stood tall and looked Naomi straight in the eye. I'm not here to play games or be in a relationship like you, she said calmly. I'm here to study, and that's what I will focus on. Unlike you, who spends all your time trying to impress boys and be popular. You're the dumbest girl I've ever met. Naomi's eyes widened with shock. She had never expected Liana to stand up to her like this. She was used to bullying people into submission, but now Liana was speaking out against her. You will regret this, Naomi said. You think you're so perfect, but you're not. I will make sure you regret messing with me. Liana didn't flinch. Go ahead, Naomi, she said with a shrug. I'm not afraid of you. You can't scare me, Em. Naomi stared at her for a moment, realizing that Liana wasn't backing down. Her usual tactics of bullying and intimidation weren't working. Frustrated, she turned and stormed off, leaving Liana standing tall. When Liana got home that day, she felt a mix of emotions. She was proud of herself for standing up to Naomi, but a part of her still felt uncertain about the future.